people aren't selling CDs. They have to make money other ways if they want to be a musician. You know, concert sales is one way, merch sales, but like you sort of like left this void there, like you were saying a few minutes ago. So this gap between what they're worth and what they're getting paid, right? I don't know. I don't
Yes.
know if there's a question in there or just a sort of observation, but yeah.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, and even more broadly, you know, there's been a few kind of cataclysmic events in the last 100 years that I think have led to very, you know, different business models for creators. You know, it's only about 120 years ago or so that humans figured out how to record light onto a piece of photographic paper or how to record sound onto a wax cylinder. And at that moment began the you know, the sort of rise of unit sales as the
Mm-hmm.
primary economic driver for arts creation, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'll put my art on a wax cylinder and I'll sell that wax cylinder. I'll put my film, I'll put my you know, my story on a piece of photographic paper and I'll sell that story. I'll sell the paper, right? I'll sell the celluloid film. And then you get the movie industry, you get television, you get the record industry. And then those industries boomed over the next 100 years, right? Over the 20th century, you know, record companies, you know, you have truckers and manufacturers and retail and Tower Records and
Yeah.
like still like billions of dollars of infrastructure got set up to basically distribute physical goods around the world with art on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the internet happened in
Yeah.
the early 2000s. And suddenly art was infinitely replicable and no longer scarce. And you have things like Napster and SoundCloud and YouTube and Facebook. And now you upload your art and it goes from the creator of the art to the consumer of the art like that.
Yeah.
And you don't need infrastructure. You don't need record companies. You don't need jewel case manufacturers. You don't need trucking companies. So that is kind of the big moment for artists where distribution got separated from monetization, right? Because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
monetization was built into that 100 years of infrastructure. It wasn't very good for artists, but it was at least built in. But then after that, when the web happened, the web solved distribution first and forgot about monetization. So
Mm-hmm.
YouTube was built without monetization tools for creators. YouTube was built without monetization tools for creators. SoundCloud was built without monetization tools for creators. The web figured out distribution first and separated it from monetization. That is the problem that Patreon is solving. Fortunately, it's coming back together for creators. So monetization tools are now filling the web for creative people. And over the next decade or two, we're going to start to see those business models emerge, and we're going to start to see the rise of this creative class in a very fast and dynamic way. I personally think it's going to be a second renaissance for the arts. Creators are going to be empowered and courted in a way that they just haven't been for literally hundreds of years.